$50 a month. That is the price Medicare now poses for certain weight loss drugs under a new program that is already live. Wegovy is on the list. Zepbound is on the list, but only one formulation. And here is the catch. Two people with almost the same BMI can be sent down completely different Medicare coverage routes. One may reach the $50 bridge. The other may have to use ordinary Part D. I will show you exactly why, using the Medicare rules on screen, starting with the 3 gates that decide it. Start with the first gate. The bridge is temporary and nationwide. It began July 1st, 2026, and the current end date is December 31st, 2027. You need Medicare drug coverage, usually a standalone Part D plan or a Medicare Advantage plan that includes prescription drugs. But the bridge itself sits outside the normal Part D payment flow. That detail explains several strange rules later, including why the $50 does not count toward your Part D out-of-pocket limit. Before the BMI rules, make sure the prescription is for a product the bridge actually includes. Medicare currently lists Foundayo as a tablet, Wegovy as an injection or tablet, and Zepbound only as the quick pen formulation. That last detail is easy to miss. The bridge does not list the single-dose Zepbound vials or single-dose pens, so the drug name by itself is not enough. The exact formulation on the prescription can change what happens at the pharmacy, and this is only a coverage explanation. Whether any of these medicines is medically appropriate is a separate decision for you and your prescriber. Gate 2 is the clinical ladder. CMS uses 3 routes. A BMI of 35 or higher can qualify without one of the extra listed conditions. At BMI 30 or higher, the list includes heart failure with preserved ejection fraction, uncontrolled hypertension despite 2 blood pressure medicines, or chronic kidney disease stage 3A or higher. At BMI 27 or higher, the list includes prediabetes, a previous heart attack, a previous stroke, or symptomatic peripheral artery disease. And an important detail, CMS looks at the BMI when GLP-1 therapy was started. If your weight fell after treatment began, today's BMI may not be the number that controls this test. Gate 3 is where most of the confusion lives. The bridge is for prescriptions used to reduce excess body weight or maintain weight reduction. If the prescription is for type 2 diabetes, moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea, or certain non-cirrhotic MASH with moderate to advanced fibrosis, CMS says the drug should be handled through ordinary Part D instead of the bridge. Established cardiovascular disease can also create an overlap. If the prescription is being used to reduce major cardiovascular events, CMS says it should go to Part D. So a diagnosis is not simply good news or bad news. It can change which Medicare door the prescription belongs behind. There is another catch for 2026. If CMS data show that your Part D plan already paid for 8 GLP-1 during calendar year 2026, you may be blocked from the bridge for 2026. The look back is broader than just Wegovy and Zepbound. CMS lists multiple GLP-1 products in the check. If that happens, the pharmacy may receive a rejection that sends a prescription back toward your Part D plan. CMS has not yet finalized the look-back period for 2027, so do not assume this year's rule will be identical next year. If the bridge appears to fit, the workflow has a specific order. Your provider sends the prescription to the pharmacy first. The pharmacy runs the bridge claim. If prior authorization is needed, the pharmacy sends the request to the prescriber. The prescriber then attests that the clinical criteria and lifestyle requirements are met. CMS warns prescribers not to send the prior authorization before the pharmacy has submitted the prescription because the system may not be able to match the patient yet. Once approved, the authorization can remain valid through December 31st, 2027, including refills and dose changes, unless you switch to a different GLP-1. Now, the headline number itself. For an eligible 1-month supply, Medicare says you pay $50 at the pharmacy. That is either 28 or 30 days, depending on the product. But because the bridge is outside normal Part D, the $50 does not count toward your Part D deductible and does not count toward your yearly Part D out-of-pocket limit. Extra help does not lower the bridge copay, and the Medicare prescription payment plan cannot spread it across several months. If you paid $50 every month for 12 months, the copays alone would total $600. That is arithmetic, not a promise about what any particular drug would otherwise cost. Before you call a pharmacy, make the coverage question easier. First, confirm that you actually have Medicare drug coverage. Second, Write down your BMI when GLP-1 therapy began if you have already started. Third, note the diagnosis the prescription is intended to treat and whether Part D paid for a GLP-1 earlier in 2026. Then use the eligibility questions on Medicare.gov and take the result to your prescriber. The useful question is not, does Medicare cover Wegovy? It is, for my prescription, is the correct route the GLP-1 Bridge or ordinary Part D? That one distinction prevents most of the confusion in this story. So the $50 headline is real. But four things have to line up: the right drug, the right BMI route, the right diagnosis, and the right Medicare coverage route. Before you act, use the official Medicare eligibility checker, then confirm the route with your prescriber and pharmacy. Retire Clear is here to turn the rule into something you can actually check.